This is an overview of Communication Design G422 in the Pinnacle format on the Brightspace platform. So for those of you who have taught this course before, we started with a client that was chosen from a list, and you then created a brand identity for that client and developed some marketing materials with a final presentation at the end. This course follows a similar format. The clients have changed for the course, and there's more different variety of clients as well. So one thing that is important that the student needs to understand is that they are not creating a new logo for this client. One of the clients, for example, is Hershey. The student is not to create a brand new logo design for Hershey. However, they're going to be creating a brand extension for the parent brand, Hershey. Now, it is important for the instructor as well as the student to understand what exactly a brand extension is. And that is explained in the very beginning of the course in Milestone 1. In Milestone 1, we go over visual identity, corporate communications, idea generation, how to brainstorm different ideas. The student will be creating a design brief for their client, and there's different textbooks that they will be doing readings throughout the course. So the first thing I wanted to go over was what the brand extension was. So the brand extension is basically creating an offshoot of a new product or service from the parent brand. So the example used here in the course is for Aqua, that you'd have Aqua shampoo, body wash, cream, the parent brand being Aqua. Here's another example as well. So for Hershey, you might have something like Hershey's chocolate ice cream. Maybe there's Hershey granola bars, that kind of thing. So the student is to create a design brief that identifies what the brand extension is, what they want to communicate, what the target audience is, and how they plan to effectively communicate to that target audience. They are to utilize and implement the parent brand logo design into the brand extension logo design. So, like I said, they're not redoing the parent brand logo, and a lot of students will be tempted to do that. Usually they already have a good logo design normally for these very popular brands. They're doing it right. So they just need to learn how to creatively incorporate the parent brand into a new logo design for this new product or service. So in Milestone 1, they will be creating a creative brief for the client and the brand extension. So here's a sample of the simple creative brief that they will be filling out. What makes their product unique? What is the perception of the brand? What do they want the target audience to think about this product? What is the tone and mood that they want to set? What is the objective? Where does this product fit in the marketplace? How is it unique? How are they different from their competitors? Why is it important that this product or service exists? Throughout the course, they will be referring back to this project brief in order to fulfill the tasks and assignments that will lead up to a final presentation. So using the design brief and the new logo that they created for the brand extension, the first project they will be creating is the direct market piece, and then they will also be creating a magazine advertisement. They will be utilizing the digital version of the logo and implementing that into the social media campaign. And then they will bring all of these pieces together in a designed presentation. And it's very important that the students understand that the final project for this course is a designed presentation. That doesn't mean taking a PDF of the design brief, marketing pieces, magazine design, logo design, and just putting it together in a PDF that puts all the files together. What they should have should be clearly designed, utilizing the color palettes and fonts and various design elements that they use to create their brand extension logo and use it the in the design of the final presentation. So an effective designed presentation would include a cover page with the name and date, and as well as the brand. They will then have a table of contents is suggested as well that will easily guide the viewer throughout the presentation. Page numbering might be something you can suggest, but it should be have headers. It should be consistent in typography, font size, and it should look like it all belongs together. This is a great portfolio piece if designed well, and they should approach it as they are going to be presenting this to the client as possibly a product launch idea. So throughout this course, you as the instructor are taking on the role as the brand manager for whatever client that the student picks out, whether it's Hershey or Panera Bread. So there are different sections throughout each of the milestones, overviews and projects and tasks that have a dialogue that is between the brand manager and the designer. So the brand manager ends up grading the designer, perhaps saying something like, we got the results in of our latest direct marketing piece that you designed. Great job. Results are looking good. Next, we want to approach creating a magazine layout to be used in several different magazines. So this helps this scenario be more like a real life type example of what the students might find themselves in someday, actually working with a brand manager or a creative director and hearing what they need and fulfilling the designs and the solutions for the different problems and design needs of the client. So in milestone 1, task 1 is to create a cover letter introducing themselves and what their favorite brand extension is, followed by an example. Task number 2 is the creation of the design brief. They're to choose their parent brand and then their brand extension ideas, as well as their objectives, target audience, and their message. The milestone 1 submission would be the final design brief submission as based upon instructor and student feedback. Milestone 2, they start developing the brand extension by learning how to design a logo based upon using concept development skills. They will create researching their brand, and they will create concepts of sketches for the logos as well as rough drafts and a final design using various brainstorming techniques. So task 1 is to create 25 thumbnail sketches for their logo design. I would suggest getting feedback right away to students because in task 2 they need to create high-end rough drafts of their logo design using Illustrator. So this will give the student time to respond. So it's encouraging students. The 25 logo designs does sound daunting to some students. However, they need to know that this is like brainstorming, going from one idea to another. They might change little different things about each of the logo designs, and a lot of the times, you know, one idea leads to another, and they might come up with a completely different solution than what they had originally brainstormed. So just help encourage them that these are to be rough sketches and not highly detailed and refined ideas at this point. So task number 2 is highly detailed and refined of 3 of their top choice designs. And a lot of times I like to ask the students, you know, why do they choose these particular designs and how they feel that this meets the solutions for the, the parent brand. And then finally, milestone 2 submission is the revised brand extension logo design. Milestone 3, you'll be taking the students will be taking the final version of their logo design, so it should be completed by milestone 2, and they will be placing it in their first marketing piece, which is a direct mail postcard. Students will be provided with a template for them to use. They can take this into Photoshop or InDesign or Illustrator, whatever program they feel most comfortable with. And they will be creating a 6x11 two-sided postcard. Now, one thing to keep in mind is this will be a mailed direct mail piece, so they need to keep room for postage, barcoding, labeling and addressing, that kind of thing. And they also need to get 3 printing quotes from various printers with the specifications that are given to the student on the quantity, the paper type, and the size. And they can get these by visiting online printers as well as in-person printers. And I do suggest that that they do visit a printer if they do have the time to do so. They might get a tour, they might be able to build a relationship with that printer. The printer might be able to give them suggestions and ideas. Actually seeing the print process in person can be a highly educational and valuable thing. However, some students might not live close to a printer, so the online options are available, and it might be a good idea to have a mixture. That way they can see, you know, speed versus quality versus pricing, that all of these go into play with creating proofs and or print quotes. And a lot of times the quotes can vary, and that's one of the things that students often take away from this experience is, wow, you know, there's like a difference of $1,000 here between these two places. And sometimes they might value the relationship over the price, but these are all different factors that go into choosing a printer for your print project. Task number 2 is the rough draft of the direct mail piece. They'll be creating 3 rough draft designs for their two-sided postcards. And then milestone 3 submission, they will be submitting the final printing quotes. I wouldn't suggest that the students get started early on the printing quotes. If they're working with in-person printers, sometimes it could take like a week or so to hear back. So you want to give them plenty of time to get these printing quotes. So you could, if they're still missing from task 1, if they say, hey, I've contacted highendprinting.com and they just haven't gotten back to me yet, that is something that you might need to take into consideration. So milestone 3 includes the two-sided final postcard design as well as the final printing quotes. Something they might discuss in their artist journal is that how they felt about obtaining the printing quotes. You know, what was their experience like, and did they learn anything? Milestone 4, they will be using a similar or design style they used for the direct mail piece. They're to incorporate this into 2 magazine ads. So they're going to be 2 different sizes, a full page ad and 1/4 page ad. So this will give the skills to the students to be able to reformat their designs into various different media and file formats. So in task 1, they'll be researching various magazine ad designs and discussing the different elements that make up a magazine ad and what is considered good design elements within that magazine ad. And then they'll be creating 3 high-level rough draft ideas for their magazine ads. And then they will be submitting for milestone 4 the final magazine ad as a full page and 1/4 page ad. Milestone 5. Now that we've covered print media for both the direct mail piece and the magazine ad, we're going to go for digital design, and they're going to create a social media campaign. So they're going to apply their branding guidelines and styles into various social media platforms. There are multiple ones that are chosen for this particular assignment, and this is just to maintain brand consistency throughout both online presence as well as print presence for their brand. So what they will be designing here will be the image for the identification image and also the header or banner of the particular social media platform. And they will be, this is a short milestone, so there's just the task and the final submission. For milestone 6, this is where presenting work comes in. They should take all of the things, the design brief, the final logo design, the direct marketing piece, the magazine ads, and the social media campaign, and designing that final design presentation both in task 1 as a rough draft, and then based upon feedback from the instructor and their classmates, the final presentation in milestone 6. This is recommended to use InDesign to complete this final presentation. A lot of students may not have very much experience in InDesign, and this is a good opportunity to give them more experience working with this particular software. So that completes the overview of communication design. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And please contact us, and we'll be happy to help you out in any way we can.